Hello and welcome to another episode of the Selfish Podcast. Today we're going to get to know Jaya Jankert and we're going to find out about her life and her story. And for those that are listening on audio, this is also a video episode that will be on YouTube. So go check it out and drop your feedback. Hi Jaya, can you just share with the audience and myself, where in the world are you and what time of day is it for you?
Oh, hi, and thank you so much for having me. So I'm in Sweden, and actually right now I'm out in the Swedish archipelago. So it's a lot of sea, a lot of different islands, and nature. So it's beautiful. It's really
Oh,
beautiful. The Swedish summer time here.
nice. Yeah, and it's nice to connect with someone in Europe because it's the same time zone. So it makes it nice and easy
Yes.
for me. A lot of guests I have can be from like America or Australia, and it's trying to work out that difference. Sometimes I'll be recording late at night or they're first thing in the morning. So it's nice that we've got the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So what I like to do with my guests, so I get to know them more personally and hear about their life, is I like to go to the beginning of life. So can you paint me a picture of how was life for you, say pre 10 years old? Where did you grow up? What did your parents do? What was life like? Paint me a picture.
Absolutely. So I'm going even further just so you get the whole picture. So I was born in India and I was in India up until I was 2.5 months old. And then I was adopted to Sweden and to my parents living here. So, and they have already had a son. So he's biological to them. And then I came along. So I grown up here in outside Stockholm and in Sweden. But actually, I think when I was around 10 years old, we always had the summer here where I'm at now. And I was playing a lot with we had a lot of dogs and I had imaginary horses and stuff because it was a lot of time here where I spent by myself playing and creating a lot of ideas and stuff. And I remember when I was 10 years old here playing on the rocks, I kind of knew from the inside that my mission, even if I didn't know what mission was or anything like that, I knew that I was meant for a bigger picture and that I was meant to speak to people on stages, but I thought it was about singing. I'm not that good singer, so it's not that. But I knew from within that I had a calling. And then, like all the condition, everything that we've been through in this society, I would say, came along, of course. But for me to now kind of be where I'm at right now, where I'm actually start to put out my vision and step by step acknowledge that and start to living the life that I was meant for, it's pretty amazing, I would say.
Oh, nice. It sounds like you had a different childhood to some, and everyone's unique and everyone has their own, say, life. I've had parents that have had adopted children, but I've never had someone
Oh,
that was the adopted child. So you're my first
no.
who's gone through that process. And
Wow.
there's a couple of questions I have that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
One, I just want to know how many dogs? You said a lot of dogs. How many is
Yeah.
that?
Okay. For me, it was a lot. It was like my aunt's dog, my grandmother, and our dog. So it was only three. But for me, they were like, they meant a lot because they were also my, what do you say, uh, playmates to like really explore and do stuff because they like I know that you love animals as well, and I mean they are so they follow me everywhere,
Yeah,
and one of them slept in my bed and
oh,
like
nice.
kind
Yeah.
of best friends, I would say,
Yeah, and
for
I
me.
I think a powerful thing when you're a child is like there can be a lot of pressure of say judgment because you're trying to sort of work your place out when you're a kid and like you're getting told certain things, certain rules and certain things like you said you have maybe an innate calling and someone's sending you a different direction and but when it comes to the animals they just have no judgment. It's like if you treat them nice, they're going to treat you nice. If you're
Yeah,
even a little bit nice, they're going to give you an abundance of love back, you know?
yeah,
So it's like a very, like for me, I always had there was always a dog around throughout my whole life at some point. And it's like they give you not just safety or comfort, but like I said, they give you that companionship.
Yes.
And when you're a
Uh,
child, you can really feel it and bond to it.
yeah. And I think speaking to you now, and also that I've been speaking to your Danielle, your love, like it's also, I don't know, something I never thought about, because I've been raised with dogs my whole life, and how much impact they impacted much more than I actually reflected on until I met you, both of you, I think, to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah, it's something me and
it
Danielle
is.
talk a lot about because like her calling and her passion is animal driven. And I
Yeah,
don't know if you've read it or not. I put out a book called The Self, Who Am I? And in that book, I go through what I believe is the three pillars of purpose. I believe everyone has a calling, an innate
yeah,
purpose within, but there's only three pillars to that purpose. And within that, you have your unique experience to offer within that
yeah,
service. And like I said, one's the animal kingdom, one's the environment, the earth, and
yeah,
one's humanity. And they're all equal. And this is what I've seen so many people struggle. Some people have innate calling towards the animals,
yeah,
but the people that are for humanity are like, what about people? Like people, and they put this importance or this structure, and it's like, no, everyone's unique, but all three are so intertwined that it's
yes,
like you have to serve in somewhere, but there's a vastness of experience and service available. You know, and
yeah,
the power of animals. Like I was sharing with Danielle, said you can bring what they've done for her in her life, like that connection. If you've been traumatized by people, it's kind of hard to bring that trust back in for some people, and they don't feel their inner love. Yet through an animal,
mhm,
you can just reconnect, rebond, and still have that feeling. And that's what works so powerful for her. And I
yeah,
believe that's life showing her how powerful they can be, so that
yeah,
she can bridge that gap for people, you know, so that people can connect again and love again,
yeah.
you know, and be in a place. When you was a child and they said you went through adoptive process, at what point did you find out you was adoptive? Because I'm guessing your parents
Mm,
are Swedish, so you noticed
exactly,
maybe you looked a
exactly.
little different to them and your brother.
Yeah.
How did
So
that?
I think my earliest memory, I was around 5 years old, and I asked my mom, like, because then I noticed my difference of my skin color,
Mm.
and I asked her, like, Mom, could we change skin? Like, could we change the color, because I want to look like everyone else? And she paused, and she was, I remember it clearly, she was like, why do you want to change skin, like the color? Because if you think about the people we know about, like the neighbors or the friends and family, they usually want to be suntanned in the summer and so on. So, and you actually, you're always having this nice color on your skin. And somehow, I don't know, that made me think that I was good enough having, like,
Nice.
having this brown color. Yeah. And after that, I never thought about it, because I have had the privilege to not be judged by my skin, like through my life, which is rare, I would say, I think. And but my children has asked me the same question, and I put the same answer. So somehow they were also like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, because my daughter is, it's pretty brown, and my son is lighter skin color, but he gets very brown in the summer.
Yeah.
uh
Well,
so
I think
yeah.
that's similar to me because my dad's actually from India and my mom's
Oh,
English
I
Irish.
didn't know.
So I don't know if
Wow.
you can see in this, the color of my
Yeah,
skin is like caramelly brown, but I tan really easy. If I go in the sun,
yeah,
I just change. I don't burn. I never burn. No matter how much sun I go in, I don't put
yeah,
any sun cream on or anything. And my skin just adapts really fast.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was something that I had like when I was younger. It wasn't so much anyone was being, say, racist to me, but I didn't belong to a race. And I
mm,
noticed like through school, and because of my age, I'm 35 now. So when I
mm,
was younger, there was in England a lot of Pakistanis, a lot of Indians, and
yeah,
then the English people. So there were three main groups that were there. There wasn't really much African, there wasn't much Europeans. They were the majority.
yeah,
Um, and but they all stuck to their groups. Yeah, they all found that commonality in their race. So all the Pakistanis would group together, all the Indians grouped together, and all the English grouped together. And there
Yeah.
wasn't too much exchange. And I noticed that all of them would complain about each other. They was all racist to each other. Yeah, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like one was worse than the other. They were all, and where I fit in was all free. And it was really
Yeah.
strange because the Pakistanis accepted me because I was half Indian, and they're like, "Oh, you're just like us." Yeah. The
Yeah.
Indians accepted me because they're like, "Oh, you're half Indian, you're just like us." And the English were like, "Oh, you're half English." And
Yeah.
it's really weird because I would be able to have friends in all groups and then hear them complain about each other and argue about each other because of their races.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, where's my place? And that when I was younger was a very confusing place to be. I didn't feel
Mhm.
uncomfortable in my skin, but I also didn't feel there was a group to associate with. And,
Mm.
and then as well, that mixed race was really rare. Now you see so many different people of so many different backgrounds. But
Yes.
20, 30 years ago, it's like, it was very, very different.
Yeah, it was. And I think as well, like what you're saying, when I reflect back that I kind of wanted, with my teenager and so on, most of my friends were Swedish, Swedish, like light, I don't know, skin color, whatever you say. But I remember so clearly I had a friend who was also adopted from
Oh, I've got a little distortion in the audio and
India.
video. Can you hear me?
And I remember she was telling me, "Oh, yes,
Oh,
can you
can
hear
you
me?
just, yeah, it just suddenly glitched. It happens on Zoom for some
Wait,
reason. I don't think it's your end. This seems to
let's
be
see.
a Zoom problem that happens now and then.
Okay,
I just start from the
yeah.
beginning of what you were saying if you can.
So, uh, what you were saying as well, like for me, I had a lot of like girls and boys who were looking much brighter in the skin when I grew up, like the Swedish friends I had. But I remember I was around 14 and I had one friend who was also adopted from India.
Mm.
And she said to me, like, wow, yeah, finally I met someone who will understand me. And at the time, I was like, oh, but you have your best friend, because she had one really close friend. And I was like, I don't understand what she was talking about. Because I think for me, I never pay attention, to be honest, to skin color, not for everyone, because my passion is people. But I think in order to get that passion, it was through the dogs. I never thought about it until now, to be honest, but through the animals somehow. And because on the other hand, I never felt that I fitted in. Like I still have like, okay, hard times to know if people really get me on the like core. So um let me see where I was. Let me see what your question was.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting, like you're saying that you're having that sort of revelation that it was the dogs, and like you said, they've got a different, not only a different color, different fur,
Yeah,
different look, different shape, like, but you can connect with them. And for me, it was
yeah,
similar. I was always passionate about connecting with people, and I would be the one stopping fights and racist
yeah,
arguments because I would try and bring them all together because I didn't understand it for me. But also being a mix of race, I was
yeah,
like, if you don't like each other because of that, it's only because you two got together that I even exist. You know,
yeah.
so it's like you can
But
come
I
from
was the
it.
same as
Yeah.
you. I was also the one who's, if someone bullied someone or something, I was the one who always raised my voice. And also for the girls in the class who never dared to do it, I had no problem in standing, like
Yeah, and it's
having them behind me.
yeah,
Yeah,
have them, and I used to really like when I look back on it, I would go out my way to interact with some of the kids in the class that I saw, and it wasn't a race problem. They were just for some reason either being ignored or bullied
exactly.
or something, and you could see they were sad. I could see their suffering.
Yeah,
So I would always want to interact, even if it's just saying hello to them, how are you, and stuff. And you could see they were like, oh, someone actually wants to talk to me.
yeah,
But I noticed that from a very, very young age. Whereas I think for many people, they don't sort of even see it, and it's more like they're acting on some sort of lower instinct to just conform to whatever situation they're in rather than to be aware. And like I said,
Yeah.
mine came through having, I think, from having a very traumatic childhood. So from very, very young age, my childhood was really traumatic. But I think now I see that as a gift because it's like, well, that made me really aware of my environment. It made me really aware of how people behave,
Yes.
so I could analyze and see, which in the beginning of life was a lot of suffering because all I saw was suffering everywhere I looked,
Mm.
whether it was the environment, animals, people. I would
Mm.
see the pain, I'd see the suffering, and be on a quest to fix everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that in itself became a painful journey. Whereas now, later, it's like, okay, that was a gift, that was something beautiful, because I'm not there now. I'm not in that place now. So I don't need
No.
to experience the pain of that. I can look for something beautiful from it.
Yeah.
Did you find, you said
Yeah.
you had a calling when you was young, you just knew there was something in your core. Do you remember your first sort of just ambition or dream? Was it to be a singer, or did you have like a career? Like what was your first memory of something to do, be, or become?
I think it was because I listened to music a lot, and I had a lot of dreams, and I'm a big visionary. I think that what was kind of my calling at the time, even if I didn't exactly knew what, to inspire other people, because I haven't been through a lot of suffering in this lifetime, but in previous ones. So for me, it's all about a lot of stuff. How can I say it? Like what is going on in the world right now? I've been through a lot of stuff in previous lives, and I just know that, and I could feel it. It's a lot of spiritual things I've been through lately, which is like going back in time, which is not from this lifetime. So pain for me or suffering, nothing surprises me. I don't know. I could relate to it. I could relate to everything that people has gone through without having that experience in this earth life. I don't know if this makes sense. For me, it makes sense, but which makes that I could connect to anyone,
Nice.
because I believe that even if people do really like they make a choice, we all have choices, and if they make a choice to really hurt someone in different ways, I also believe that when they were born, they weren't born evil, or they weren't born, but they could be, how could you say it, like conditioned in
Yeah, no,
to,
100%. I think everyone was
you know what I
born
mean?
innately thriving of unconditional love. I think
Yeah.
that's where we come from. That's what we are, and that's what we hunger. Is
Yeah.
because that's what starts. If without that from the mother and the father in the very, very stages, we'd literally die.
Yeah.
Because we're completely dependent on them. And
Yeah.
part of that is the nurture, the food, and the safety. But it's that
Yeah.
unconditional love that for the very first at least 6 months, your parents can't judge you for anything that you do. You can
No.
you can go toilet on them. They won't judge you for it. They'll be happy. They'll think it's sweet. You know, whatever you do, you're going to get
Yeah.
love, and then you're going to build that foundation. But as life and experience happens, for whichever reasons it's constructed, there's a conditioning. Like you say, you get conditioned to a certain pattern,
Yep.
and that
Yeah.
focus, I think, on the unconditional love gets broken, and we start to look
Yes.
for the sensation and the feeling of that in all different directions from what our experience has shown us, and we have to bring
Yeah.
ourselves back to that place. And that's like a journey that I had to go through, and it's what I share online. Is you're not discovering something brand new, you're actually rediscovering what you already
Exactly.
have within, you
Yeah.
know and
It resonates with me totally.
yeah, and I think just what you were saying, that place within, like to be able to connect with people, share with people. I actually made a video on my channel the other day on it, and it's what I call independence, but it's
Yeah.
an inner place that you depend upon. That's your sort of stance. It's your grounding. And I used to, when I was younger, done a lot of boxing and martial arts stuff, and it's like you have a stance, and that stance is your foundation. That if you were to get hit, that you can either duck, dodge, dive, or
Yeah.
actually take a punch. So if you've got a good inner dependence and that stance is grounded and firm, if life hits you, you don't
Mm.
get knocked out, or you move out the way. You're
Mm.
fluid, and you can have that place. And I
Yeah.
think that's for a lot of people. It sounds like that's what you've got. And sounds like a lot of it came from your parents, gave you a good foundation and structure that you didn't have to have a lot of them
They did.
places?
I would say that it did, and the other part was what I like know now, and going through a lot of my biggest trauma is actually the adoption, like being separated from my birth mom at that age, and then I knew I was given like sugar water and not much. What do you say? Like
Nurture.
exactly. The first 2.5 months, and then now getting some kind of, I don't know, spiritual awakening, you can call it anything, I would say. But when I come through some of the documents from the adoption, there's so much stuff that doesn't make sense. So what I felt 2 years ago, something that I think I was sold. And I trust that in the right timing, I will get the answers. Like I know when the universe is ready, I will be giving right. And right now it's a lot of people coming into my life, which is around human trafficking, which is around like, and I have known that. And I think that is what I kind of felt as a child, but I didn't know, look, that it was about that. But my soul knew. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a big area where that's
It is.
a big industry, unfortunately.
It is.
But it's
It
also
is.
something that's very heavily in the orphanages. It's very heavy in child services and everywhere where children are, basically, but especially the vulnerable ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I said, whether that's something there or whether it's been brought to surface as something that's just to ignite your core, to set your
Yeah.
passion and fire, so you can have direction,
Yeah.
of influence. But no, and I would say, like I always say, because I said earlier, like I had a traumatic life, and that continued most of my life, to be honest, till I broke out of it. But life didn't stop getting chaotic. Life didn't stop giving me some little blows here and there. But the way I looked at it and perceived it changed. So I could, and what really helped for me is I changed the word trauma. I was like, I don't like this word. It's such a crushing feeling from that word trauma. And so many people like, what I'd say is own that word. And that and it keeps them sort of trapped. So I had just changed the word trauma to drama. And I liked writing stories. And I was like, no good character develops any qualities without drama. And we wouldn't watch an entertainment show or a film or a book if it didn't have the drama to develop the character and build their strengths. But we'd also be unsatisfied. And normally the villain is created where they have the drama, but they go the wrong direction with it. They don't make it useful. You know, they use it to abuse in certain ways. And then we go, that's the villain.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then whereas the hero, we look at it and they go, they went through drama, but it made them stronger. It made them better at whatever they're trying to accomplish. So I'd say like your drama, with your childhood drama, that's what built your character. That's what's giving you that inner dependence and giving you a sight and perspective.
Yes.
You know, it builds your character to who you are. You know, so is that you said you have kids. Do you ever plan on having adopted kids? Is that something you think about? I'm just curious.
I know that I thought about that before, but right now, where I'm at now, when like I said, I get involved, like the universe is providing me with the right people entering my life right now around that topic here in Sweden. There's so much more that I need to know, because now there's so many, like you said, it's a big topic, but I'm not sure, because there's so many children and infants taking from their mothers, so and being sold. So no, I wouldn't, not at this time. There's too much corruption going on that I need to
just know a bit more about.
I would say.
I went to India I've been a couple of times, but I went when I was 15 for the first time. And it was like a youth service thing. So like 20 of us all went out there and they took us around to different places. But what impacted me the most, and I really felt, is they took us to an orphanage. And it was a really small orphanage. And we took some clothes, we done a little firework display and got to really connect and bond with the kids. And I remember holding this little girl. She was only maybe 3 years old and she had a couple of missing fingers and stuff like, and it's like, when you come from England, it's like you don't see kids with missing fingers or arms, unless it's a birth defect, but even then you don't see it. And I remember having it, and I was just like, one day, man, I've got to have an orphanage. I was like, one day I want an orphanage where I can, because I saw the kids on the street and you see them, but I saw more smiles, to be honest, than I've ever seen in my life on the street in kids that didn't have anything that I had. And that really was an eye opener, because I was really depressed when I went. And I was like, it made me realize, wait a minute, like, and I can really see it now. It's like that depression, that feeling was coming from within, not because of my situation. I always assumed my situation, anyone would feel depressed within it because it's
Mm,
problems causing it. Whereas I
mm,
went there and saw a lot of problems and they weren't
mm.
depressed, you know. So I was like, oh, this gives me a nice insight into their life. But yeah, no, I plan as well. I really want to have my sort of dream is to have two biological children and one adopted child.
Yeah,
Like you said, it's finding out. I'd really like to know the process.
yeah,
But at the same time, I'm like, whatever that child's come from, I know I can give it love and unconditional love.
yeah,
Like whatever it's been through, I believe people always have that place to build them back to where they need to be, and and
absolutely.
and give them that what they need. You know, not necessarily always what they want,
Mm.
but what they need. You know, to be in that place.
And especially, I would say, since you're like both of you are working so consciously with yourself and have been doing that for, I would assume, years. I mean, it couldn't be because I'm very like I love the way I am like teaching my children. They are within me, not within me, but they're with me on this spiritual journey as well. So I see them and I treat them as souls because that was something that I didn't have. And I had a lot of like I had low self-esteem and a lot of like low confidence as well when I was growing up and around my body and stuff. So to to help them to treat themselves as, how would I say it, like put themselves first in the way of setting loving boundaries and in order to give to others. So
Yeah, no,
not
exactly.
like all of that.
But yeah,
And so I would say that would, I mean, you would totally help to transform a child's life if you adopt as well, because you're also so aware.
yeah, I
But
think it's like you said, it's like nurturing them and allowing them to grow and
exactly.
recognizing their individuality of
Yeah.
being that they're a separate entity to you. They're not you. So you don't project you onto them,
No.
but you can help them grow. You can nourish them like a flower, you know, so they can just blossom into whatever they're meant to be. But
Yeah.
that should be balanced and it should be of service, you know, bring in more
Yeah.
balance into the world in whichever area
Absolutely.
that is. And no, and I love what you're saying about serving yourself first. That's why this is called the Selfish Podcast.
Yeah.
You have to you have to have a full cup to be able to offer someone else a drink. You know,
Yeah.
and then you need to refill your cup to be able to serve someone else. If you keep giving someone a sip of your drink because they're thirsty, but your
Mm.
cup empties out, you will soon become empty and you
Yeah.
won't be able to help anyone, you know. And that was a place I was in my life before. Like I said, I was a
Yeah.
full-time carer for my mum for a long time, and I sacrificed a lot of my life and a lot of my welfare to care
Yeah.
for her, which I don't regret in any way because all experiences gifted me something. But it took me time to realize and go, wait, I need to also make sure I'm maintaining my own self
Yeah.
so I can take care of the people I love, so I can take care of others. And I'm noticing that's like a lot of people are in that place now, and that's why I contribute now more so is because I've seen that people are thirsty for that because they're realizing that there's a lot of people out there that need to actually take care of themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, I think as well, being a parent, I know that when my daughter was, I don't know, half like 7 months or something like that, and she started to eat food, real food. I know that I always ate first, and I had some friends who were like, "Why aren't you like giving her first?" And I said, "But if I kind of pass out because my blood sugar at the time was low, how could I help her out? She's not dying if she had to wait for 10, 15 more minutes." And that might sound harsh, but on the other hand, it helped me to kind of center myself. Even at that time, I haven't started to do the spiritual work and the growth work. That came later when I had the divorce from the father. But um, it was kind of, it was just there. I just knew that, okay, I need to take care of me first and then I could support her. Like, of course not when she was breastfeeding and so on. No, not at that time, of course not. But
Yeah,
I
like
still need to eat, you know.
yeah, but like you said, you're
Yeah.
setting yourself up. You
Yeah.
actually, your intention was you're doing that so you can be better for her
Yes.
sake. Even though it's like I said, it's a circle. It's always repeats. You can't be selfish, and if you're in that form and not be actually, you're only being selfish to be of more service. You know, so
Yeah.
it's trying to reclaim that word because for so many people, selfish can sound like a horrible word, but it really
Exactly.
depends on your intention. It depends on your activity.
Yeah.
And so, how old are your children now? You said you have two.
Yeah. My daughter is turning 12 and my son is turning 10 this month. So
Nice.
now they are much bigger and much more aware, I would say. We have a lot of fun discussion about everything.
Oh, nice. And do they speak
Yeah.
English or Swedish or both?
They speak Swedish, but they learn English in school. And my daughter is practicing it more and more. And my son knows some words, but I know that they will, because I have like my soul family that I build globally. All of them are English speaking. So, and I have a few here in Sweden, but otherwise they are from different countries around the world. And so they kind of, I think that's the best way to practice as well. Then they have to, you know, try to like, because I mean, for me, I made a decision with my business to go globally, but yes, English is my second language. It's not my first, but if I didn't make that decision because my mission is bigger than me, then I just throw myself out there. And
So what is
so,
your business? What are you building?
yeah, so I started like building my brand and my business. It's actually, let me see, 2018. Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, after like growing up and having like the high school and all of that, I went into the hotel industry, which I was in for over 20 years in different, not only in Sweden, but also different countries, but also I went to school abroad, and then I was working here in Sweden. And I think it was because I met so many people, like all the guests and all the stories and all the service. That was kind of also to see how some people treated money, treated themselves, having a lot of wealth, a lot of money, but still were very humble and very, yeah, caring, I would say. And then the opposite, of course, like it's always. But I think that's when I started to learn the kind of the psychology and, you know, through all the meetings with people and everything. And then I had 5 years ago, my dad was sick and he got his cancer back. And then before he died, I spent a lot of time with him, his last 2 months in life. I could feel that something big was waiting for me. So I said to him, like, I will be fine. And something big is waiting. I don't know what that, but something is, it was actually my mission, but I didn't know at the time. And he said, yes, I know, I could feel it as well. And he was not what I thought spiritual open, but at that situation, it was like the energy was flowing, the love was flowing around us. It was really intense. And so when he died, that year was like very intense. I had a toxic, what do you say, working environment.
Yeah.
And then he went sick, and then he died. And then a friend of mine, I think it was, let me see, yeah, 3 months later, she died in a car accident, leaving her 2 children and her husband. And then that toxic working environment, they let me go because, yeah, I'm not going into it, but and it was the best for me at the time. But all of this happened through 6 months period of time.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, okay, am I passionate about this industry and so on? I was like, no, I'm not. And life is too short. And, all of this like more existential question came up. And I took some time off to just be. And I remember I was out in my neighborhood walking, and I was standing outside another like house with apartments, and there was I don't know, a woman came out. She was maybe around 65, 70 years old, and she started to talk to me. And then I kind of reflect on, wow, she was sharing her story and also her illness a little bit and so on. And then I was like, okay, I'm standing here, I'm talking to her, we don't know each other, but she shared about her life very easy and simple, like it just came. And I thought, oh my God, she just wanted someone to listen to her.
Mm.
And at that time I was like, oh my God, I need to do something for like this is. And I didn't know more about the time, but then I started to write down, okay, what do I like what am I passionate about? I knew people, but more. And I had recently found my grandmother's clothes. She loved fashion and she loved clothes, and also she took care of them. Like she had it for a long time, but she also followed trends and so on. And when I grew up, I didn't like my body. Um, I didn't like the way I looked, to be honest. And my grandmother was very like, she was constantly on a diet, and my mom as well. She would say no, but yeah. And there was a lot of projection around that, uh, about my body when I was like 10 or something, from my grandmother as well. And that hurt more than I now know. But so when I found, and my weight has always been like up and down. So I was very early mature. So once again, I didn't feel that I fitted into whatever the norm and like we're all different, but So when I tried out, I found her skirts on my mom's attic, and I started to play around. I was like, oh my God, this is hot, like handcrafted, really beautiful garments hanging here and no one using them. And then I started to play around, like, okay, how can I dress it down? How does it make me feel? Like I really went into it. And when I grew up, I didn't pay that much attention to clothes. I wanted to feel nice, but I never been someone, who followed the trends or something like that.
Mm.
But I started to notice what was shifting in within me when I started to be more creative. And then a friend of mine said, but Jaya, can't you help me? I'm going to a business meeting. I have no idea what to wear. Maybe you could work with this, being a stylist. And at the time I was like, no, I'm not the stylist. I don't even follow trends. And she was like, but you have people in your age. I was 39 at the age at the time. There's a target group out there in your age, like. And so actually that weekend I made a decision, and I applied for a school, like a stylist and personal shopper school, a course, I would say, for 6 weeks. It was so much fun. There was so much creativity. I Because there was a lot of history around clothing. There was a lot of like different dimensions, not just trends and sustainability and so on. And then I started my business, or I started to work in a fashion store as well, to kind of get to know the industry more. So in the dressing room, my brand Empowered by Jaya, which is not a fashion brand, but more from the inside and out, was born because I could see that a lot of the women came in, they had so many issues around their body, and I could see something beautiful in every person. So for me, I was just adding what they didn't see. So I was like, this is psychological. This is not even about the clothes. It's just our, how can I say, not armor, but something who reflect who we are, if we put it that way.
Okay.
And
So
trends are like this,
yeah.
but if you reflect
So you do that online?
who you are, then I do
You,
it online.
yeah, I was gonna say, is that something
I'm
you do in person, or is it just an online?
both.
Because it
So
sounds
I do it.
and it reminds me of because I think you was in it. We just finished. I think it's where we connected. It's a Time to Thrive challenge.
Yeah,
Did you do all the days?
yeah, I did.
'Cause
I'm but the bonus, I'm at the bonus because I wasn't participating on the bonus day. So I'm kind of rewatching it now before
oh,
it take away.
because there was a day, I think it might have been on the fourth day maybe, and they brung up a person who does makeup. I don't know if you remember her. And they went through sort of coaching her on her business, and she says like what she's learned on doing makeup is these women are coming to her because they want to look beautiful on the outside. And she goes, but she's realized through her life and her things that it's actually what they need on the inside is to feel beautiful, and bridging that gap. And it was like, and it was really interesting to me because I was like, no, they painted it really well, and it sounds so similar to yours. It's like, what they need, and it's an inner beauty to come to surface.
Exactly.
They're coming to you for the outer beauty, so you give them what they want, but also giving them what they need, and that gives that balance and that fulfillment. So no, it sounds beautiful. And so where can people find you for that service, or do you?
I have my website, which is jayajankert.se. And I'm also on Instagram under Jaya Jankert, my name, and on LinkedIn and Facebook and Pinterest. So I'm and I have some videos on YouTube. I haven't put that much attention to it now. It will be more, but I have some. So under my name there, you could find.
So how have you found? Because I'm interested. Because again, I'm even now connecting with you digitally, and so much is digital. Like for me, I started with. I've always been on YouTube, and I used to do that for work before. So that was like where I go to. But also like I started an Instagram, and then at one point I was like, I need to be everywhere to serve everyone. So I was like, right, open an Instagram, open a TikTok, open this, open that. And then I was like, oh, I can't keep up with all of them. And some of them, to be honest, just frustrated me. The amount of stuff I saw that wasn't giving me nourishment and was taking my taking what I had just from even going on it. I was like, do you know what? Delete that app. Which ones are working for me and which ones can I actually be productive on? So that was where I was. But have you noticed with what you're doing, what you're sharing, is one particular area working better for you than another?
If you're talking about social media?
Yeah.
I would say LinkedIn at first, like 2020 was a lot of clients coming from LinkedIn. Now it's more Facebook and Instagram. So it was when I made a decision to go more global. So Facebook, there is a lot of interaction there, but also Instagram, I would say. And I don't have a lot of followers, but the ones I have been there for.
Yes, it's like quality over quantity.
Yeah,
I think that's the way it needs to be for a successful business. It's not about the numbers, because you can have 1 million followers, but if they're not in your actual audience that you need, it's just pointless having that many people if you're not able to serve them anything.
No, exactly. And I think as well for me, because for me it's all about healing a lot of all my layers, because the more I heal, the more I could help someone and be at service to someone else. And for me, it's all about embodiment and not just read a book and then, oh, now I know this. Like I'm much more yeah, into the embodiment and really releasing the shit, even if it comes up to the surface now and then. But then I have my own tools how to navigate, and I could guide others. So the more spiritual open I've been now lately, the more I'm attracted these kind of clients to me, and that's actually the clients I really want to serve as well.
Yeah, no, it's
So
interesting. And there's
yeah,
two things I wanted to ask you one more question about your business. But first, you just said something about healing, and it's something that it's a bit like when I was saying the selfishness and taking back that word. In my journey of life, let's say, that part of healing, I felt, right, I need to heal. I've realized that there's something there that needs to be, again, fixed,
yeah,
and it's broken, and I went through all that path, and it's like, I need to fix it, I need to heal it. And then I got to a point where I realized this is a never ending path,
yeah,
and then I was like, wait a minute, there's nothing to heal. I'm good enough. I'm not broken. I'm not damaged goods. I'm just growing. And then
yeah.
when I changed that and I actually took the healing off myself, I was like, I'm not healing. I don't need to heal. I'm just growing and expanding. And when I switched that
Mm,
perception,
yeah,
suddenly it became a lot less resistant. Because if I had a moment where it's like a downwards and everything's up and down, when it has a little bit down, you didn't feel like, oh, you're not good enough, you're broken. That never come to surface. It was just like, oh, you need this so you can rock it up to the next bit.
yeah.
So maybe that's something you can float in your mind again.
Yeah, I love that, because you're right. I mean, I love growth, and I love contribution. I have like on my highest, like human needs, it's contribution, then it's growth, and then it's actually love and connection. But what you're saying is, like you said, like it's a never ending story, of course, because we reveal a lot of about ourselves, the kind of deeper we go, but also through, I think we mirror ourselves in every interaction with another human being or animal or whatever, like
Mm.
out there. So yes, I love that, because it's much more positive
Yeah, I think it's
word.
much more empowering too.
Yeah, it
It
is
takes off,
empowering. Yeah,
because otherwise, like, I don't use the word improvement either, because to me, I always say self-development, because to
yeah,
improve something means it's not, again, not good enough right now. It
exactly.
needs improvement.
Yeah,
And every
and
time,
it's the lack of,
yeah,
when you say that.
yeah,
Yeah,
and every time you feel not good enough, and it's you go to the future for the time that you're going to be healed, fixed, better. But in the real reality that you live in, the moment you're in is only the moment you're in. And in that time, you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough.
yeah,
I
you're right.
need to change. I need this. And it's all future pretense. It's all going to a different direction and it'll take you from the present. And if you're not in the present, you're not productive,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
can't
I
start.
love this. I need to write it down as well, because it's, yeah, it's true. And I think also when you say, because I talk a lot about healing, but now when you mention it this way, that's also what scares people.
Yeah. And
But
like
because
I find the thing as well is to be able to be online, you have to use again trends. It's a bit like you said, but you have to use trends, you have to use what people are actually looking for. So
yeah,
I didn't use the word sometimes improvement or healing.
mm,
So many people that need to hear certain things won't find you because that's the words they're using, because that's what they're feeling right now. Is they're like, I'm looking for healing.
mm,
So if you don't say that, you're not going to reach them. So it sort of goes back to that again. You give them what they want. You say like
mm,
this, if you're looking for healing, it's here. But then in that you give them what they need and say, but you're not broken. You don't actually
no,
need healing.
because no one is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like I said, I went through what I would call heartbreak. I had my heart ripped open and broken, and it took me a while. And I was like, okay, no, it was just broken open so I can love more, not
yeah,
close off. So it's like then breaks are breaking open. So that, like you said, more growth, more expansion, more connection, more service, more love,
yeah,
more joy, all the more beautiful experiences that we're here for and to serve for, to
yeah,
my beliefs.
yeah. I love that. I really do. That's, I will really take that to my, yeah, my
No,
business and my personal life as well,
yeah,
to really focus on that much more.
yeah.
You're right.
My question with your business as well, and we're getting near to the end because I
Yeah,
was keeping it to an hour. I could talk to you for a long time, um, but I have one more question, then a few short, fun questions that are very short at the
yeah,
end. But with your business, without
yeah,
giving me like the whole process, but so you have a client, you start with, I imagine, some form of consultation. So if I was now coming to you and we just booked a call and I'm sitting here and I roughly how does it work? Like, do we sit in and then I have all my clothes with me, or we have like a long discussion and go through
Yeah.
and
So I will like the first like is to really get to know you. So it's a lot about your past and your story and where you're coming from. Like um yeah, a lot of, because I need to know who you have been as well and your story and so on. Because when we then continue, so it's a lot of like spiritual mindset, like the mindset part, because I've been working with that myself a lot. And so story, spiritual mindset, it could be setting boundaries, a lot of inner work, I would say. And then it's about your wardrobe and to take up, because everything is energy. So if you have a lot of clothes hanging in there representing, you know, areas in your life or whatever, like everything is, you're emotionally attached to clothes, even if you don't know it, you are.
yeah.
And some people have lost weight and they still have their old clothes hanging there and so on. And so then we go into that, and to add on like what you actually, maybe you need to add in something to really put you in the state where you are at now and also where you're heading. So I kind of make a visualization for you, look where you're at now and where you're heading with your style. But I do that. And then it's about, if we need to shop something, I also help to combine everything, because that's mostly the part where people, they have a lot of clothes, they don't know how to combine it so it feels like them, like
To express their sort of true self.
exactly,
Because like you
yes,
said, and I
the true
like
self.
that you added the future self. Like,
Yeah,
you know, so I imagine you go for a process. It's like, how would you dress if you was already that place that you wanted to be?
exactly.
You know, what would that look like? What would that feel like? And like
Yeah,
embody that now, so you can actually, like you said, like you're a vision creator, so you get them into that vision, so they
yeah,
become that, rather than wait till you're that and then dress like that. It's like become what you want, so you can be what you want,
yeah,
and building that process. And no, it's fascinating, and I always are looking at a lot of stuff and thinking a lot, feeling a lot, and analyzing a lot myself. And like I've noticed through so many traditions and spiritual practices, the importance of the clothing, the importance of the color and the representation, how they're
yeah,
perceived. You know, like the monks with their bright orange, and then some are all white, and you know, for different occasions, different colors. And even in a Western society where it's a different type of spirituality, but your funeral it's all black, and then another funeral in another part of
exactly,
the country it's all white, and a wedding's
exactly.
white, and this is black. And there's we've been using colors forever to represent our expression in that moment, but also to connect in a different spiritual way at the exact same time. So it's like you're adding all them layers into someone's life to try and bring them into a place. So no, it's really really fascinating, and really
and
wish you
and
connect
as you
with a lot of
say
people.
about colors, like here, mainly if you go to funeral here in Sweden, people wear black, but black is also color which is attracting the energies from others, which is, if you're in very much pain and then we sit at the same funeral and we wear black, I could also, and I'm also an energy healer, or I mean, I guide people, you heal yourself. Now we come into healing part
Yeah,
as well, but uh, then I might, now I know how to, like, okay, this is my energy space, this is yours. But if I'm not having these tools for myself, it could be that I'm attracting all the other pains from other people into my energy field. So I heard about, like, in, like you said, in some countries you wear white, which is repelling. So instead, you're standing in your own light. And so you don't, I don't know how to say it. Like, I found it very fascinating, because I think the when I'm going to die someday, I want people to have colors. I will not want anyone to wear black, because for me that's pretty, I don't know. I don't
yeah.
think it's empowering. I
Yeah,
don't.
and I think, like I said, the society and different things. Like for me, like I've had friends. My best friend when I was younger died at 19, and I had
Mm,
like 4 or 5 friends die really young when I was younger, and I went to all these different, and they all had different funerals as well, which was interesting.
yeah,
But every single one to me was, and some of them say it should be, but to me it didn't feel it should be. Was very sad, very dark,
yeah,
very cold, And I was like, oh, from a very young age, I was like, when I go, whenever that is, people better be happy. People
Yeah.
better be joyful, celebrate that
Yeah.
I had a life, celebrate
Yes.
that celebrate that thing and that they're all there
Yeah.
because and try and make that a beautiful experience. As hard as it would be, that was like, I've got to make, how can I make it? And when I was really young, I was like, right, I'm going to have like, they can have a bouncy castle, there can be some colors, it would be like a kid's fun fair. I was all these
Yeah.
crazy ideas. I was like, how do you make it fun? How do you make it
Yeah.
something that people can feel is joyful? But
And
there's just,
celebrate,
yeah,
somehow celebrate life. My dad didn't want something like that. He wanted like, uh, he wanted not a party, but most like he wanted to have like kava and like appetizers and that people would mingle and yeah, have fun, to be
yeah,
honest.
like talk about the person in their best light.
Yeah,
What would they can share? Like I heard, I
exactly.
can't remember who it was. It was some, it might have been another podcast or something. And the guy was saying he had a really good relationship with his dad, but when his dad passed, he found out through his dad's friends a whole nother world that he said he never knew about. And he goes, he actually felt more connected with his dad because they were
Yeah,
sharing all his stories. And he goes, ah, he was more like me than I realized, but he never showed me them bits. And he goes, so you find out sometimes
yeah,
through that process, or even more about someone you don't know, because we were expressed
yeah,
slightly different to different people in different ways and had different experiences. No.
it is. Yeah,
Again, I could keep talking and talk about colors and clothes
yeah.
and everything forever, but I know you've got a day ahead of you and kids to go and love. So
Yes,
I would just
I
ask you,
do.
there's some short, quick fire questions. You
Yeah,
can elaborate if you wish, if you feel like more, but they're normally one answer questions. I ask every guest the exact same questions at the end of the show. So you have time for them?
absolutely.
And so the first one, if you had to choose one, a cat or a
Mm.
dog?
Dog.
I thought from our conversation that would be the answer.
Yeah,
What's your favorite color?
red.
Hmm. If what's your favorite or what sound do you love?
Oh, the waves, the sound of the ocean,
I
I would
know.
say. Yeah.
Yeah. And what sound or noise do you not love so much?
Oh, um, when it's like sometimes if you're in a busy city and it's very high, disturbing, I can't explain really. Uh, Kind of a noise who is not coming from the nature. Maybe it's that,
Just
not coming from the earth. Like,
the constant sort of buzzing of the busy city life, and there's no stillness there, and constant
no, and I
unnatural
could just
noise.
be there a short while, then I'm very tired. Like my energy is, yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
The what do you love about yourself?
Oh, I love that I could tune in to people and really make them feel more loved by themselves, from themselves, but that I make people feel comfortable being themselves around me. That is something that I do. And it comes to all ages, from
Right.
children to, and also animals, I would say, now when we're talking about
Yeah. And
both.
what do you love to see in other people?
Oh, the passion, the joy, and just when they feel happy, like from the inside. It could be the smallest things, I would say.
Nice.
And yeah, it doesn't have to be big and
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes
uh,
we are our most happiest and joyful when it can be from something really insignificant, you know.
yeah,
Sometimes, like you said, that's the most special because you didn't have to do
and
much.
to laugh together,
Yeah.
like laugh about anything, I would say. Also the painful stuff, but kind of laugh about it as well, because yeah, it's the now. So
Yeah. And last question,
yeah,
what do you love about animals? This can be animals in nature, pets, what are your choice?
I think they're very wise and they have so much, I don't know, it's something about their souls that I could connect with without even speaking, just looking into the eyes, if it's possible, but also feel their energy. It's calming. It's very calming.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, we said through the beginning of the conversation, they're very, this is very intimate and loving and powerful beings, you know, to that we all connect with. And some people will deny that there's a connection with animals, but you can look around and I see so many old men who have got a little dog sitting
Yes.
in the park sometimes, and it's like because of society, I think, and the way they've lost connections, like as you would have seen if you've been back to India, you know, you've got generation that the older generations aren't alone, whereas pretty much most places now, lots of the older generations alone, but that dog or that cat
Yeah.
has given them what they can feel a little bit of love from, you know, to keep
Yeah.
something in their life.
And you could also tell by an animal uh, if a person is not nice to an animal, you could see, I mean, they could sense everything about the other person's like energy, like we also can as humans, but you have to train. I mean, you have to train yourself to really feel what kind of vibration and energy that, but you could really tell if animal doesn't feel comfortable in a dog would start to bark or do so, you know, I don't know what you call it in English when they
Yeah,
when
like
the
a growl.
exactly,
Yeah.
for example. But you could also feel, they could also feel when someone is really have no bad intentions or just
Yeah.
have love,
Yeah,
I
and
would say.
yeah, I've been asked by people because obviously we've got 5 cats and a dog, and
Yeah.
the way we live, it's like people say like, but cats need stability, they need this, they need that, and they you can't move them about. And I'm like, their stability, their foundation isn't the house, it's us.
Yeah.
You know? So they always feel comfortable with us, and I
Yeah.
think it's similar with children. They have to feel that the parent is their home, not the building. You know, if the
Yeah.
building's their home, you will take them to another house because you need to move for whatever reason life's given you, and the kid can be really out of balance. But if the parents, their foundation, their home, their comfort, you know, then
That's exactly what my children say.
yeah, and that's
Exactly
also
that. Yeah.
so whether you end up on the street or you end up in a bus or you have a new house, the child can still feel home. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you, I know you haven't seen the content, but my phrase on my website and I like to use is home is where the heart beats.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because that is the source, you know. And then when we break from that, our parents, you know, we get that independence. I love that you're saying you help people connect that the love is coming from them because that is the place, you know, it's coming from their own
It
heart
is.
and themselves. Well, it's been beautiful to connect with you,
Oh
hear your
yes.
story,
Yeah. Really
and
beautiful.
yeah, look forward to sharing it with the audience. It will be out in just a couple of days.
Yeah, I could talk to you for hours as well. So we can do that another time. But
Yeah,
yeah, I love to know more. And I will also check out all your episode, the previous one as well.
yeah, it's on all podcast platforms. You just put in the Selfish Podcast, Luke Greenheart, and it will come up. But they're all on YouTube. Some are video, like this one will be. Some are audio only, but they're
Yeah,
all on YouTube. But you just go to Luke Greenheart's channel on YouTube, and it pops up straight away.
good. I will go there
All right.
and check it out.
Well, have a beautiful day. It was great
Yeah, you
chatting to you.
too. Thank you.
And yeah, we'll speak soon.
Speak soon.